Good evening and welcome to the 81st Minute Podcast. This has quickly become one of my favorite things to do during the course of my week, and today I didn't even get a chance to change into proper soccer gear after another wonderful week of the legal profession. I'll tell you that I'd rather be a coach any day of the week than deal with the daily legal problems that come my way. But boy, are we in for a special episode where I'm going to recap not only what has happened since last week's episode, but also preview some of the incredible games that are coming up this weekend. This is truly the weekend where you can say county playoffs are in full swing across the state. We're still waiting for a whole bunch of other counties to issue their brackets. But on top of that, it's going to be an utmost honor and pleasure as one of my three guests tonight. And this is what's cool about how this podcast is taking off. It's a interview with Doug Nevins, the legendary coach of West Orange, currently 14-0, one of the only 8 undefeated teams remaining in the state of New Jersey. On top of that, him and his boys are 5th ranked in the state of New Jersey according to NJ.com. Coach Nevins has over 400 victories and counting. And this is a person that I've never had the benefit of talking to in my entire life. And tonight, he is coming on as a guest. And I'm so excited to talk to him because of who he is, what his program is doing, what his program has been for years. Then we also have Tommy Schultz, coach of Mawa High School, and out of the Big North, and Coach Joe Sussman of Creskill out of the NJIC. So we have a great episode coming up, and I have a lot of things to say. I have some opinions about some of the brackets that have come out, especially in the always much-awaited Bergen County bracket, and it's now morphed into a 4-tournament county. I'll get into that in a few minutes. So first, let's recap the standings in the majority of the Northern Jersey conferences. So starting in the Big North American, after at least 6 games played by every team in the league, Fort Lee, with their victory earlier on Monday over Cliffside Park, 3-0, they have taken a major step in the potential dethroning of Cliffside Park, who, again, I forget, they're either 7-time or 8-time defending champions. So Coach Demba Mane and Fort Lee with a major, major victory. So they control their own destiny with only 2 games left to play for Fort Lee in that division, and you would think in their remaining games against Dwight Morrow and at Ridgefield Park that the odds are in their favor. With respect to the Freedom Division, it is almost... Actually, I was about to say something that is incorrect. The division has been clinched by Ramapo, 6-0 in the division with only 2 games left, and they have a 3-game lead over Ridgewood. So congratulations to Ramapo for winning the Freedom Division. In the Independence Division, which is almost nearing the end of it as well, West Milford has absolutely taken an important step in advancing towards the crown. They're a game and a half over Wayne Valley and controlling their own destiny, but still Wayne Valley has 4 more games to play. West Milford has 4 more games to play. Wayne Valley has 3 more games to play. West Milford and Wayne Valley will see each other on October 23rd, where Wayne Valley will be traveling to West Milford. So that is the Independence Division. In the Liberty Division, in an odd year, Clifton is not dominating as they usually dominate. However, that division is still all up for grabs. Patterson Kennedy has a half-game lead over Passaic and Clifton, who still have to catch up, as Patterson Kennedy has played 8 games and is at 6-2 in the division. Passaic and Clifton are a game in hand to play, and they're both at 5-2. So that division's still up for grabs. In the National Division, where Tenafly is still undefeated, 10-0. So me discussing his undefeated season with Coach Michael Carrasquilla of Tenafly did not jinx it, so that's a good thing. I'm not a jinx. Bronx Tale reference, I'm not mush. For those that don't know, you better watch Bronx Tale, one of the greatest movies probably in the last 30, 40 years. So Tenafly is still undefeated, one of only 8 teams, 7-0. Old Tappan is right behind them at 5-1-2. Old Tappan has only 2 games left, and Tenafly has 3 games left. And if my math serves me correctly, one more win for Tenafly will clinch the division. And what is interesting is that after the Bergen County blockout week is over next week, league play resumes when Tenafly hosts Old Tappan on Tuesday, October 21st. That'll be an incredible matchup. In the Patriot Division, Ramsey is holding on to a 1-game lead over Mawa and Coach Tommy Schultz, who will be a guest later on tonight. Ramsey actually earlier this week got payback for the earlier loss to Mawa by winning 2-1 at Mawa. And so kudos to Ramsey. They have a 1-game lead and control their own destiny. And lastly, in the United Division, Bergen Catholic is having a fantastic season where they are 6-1 with only 1 game left in that division. So Bergen Catholic has been crowned the United Division champions. So congratulations to Coach Burkanish and the Crusaders of Bergen Catholic. Excuse me. Switching over to the HCIAL in Hudson County. St. Peter's Prep is currently 8-0 with a 2-game lead over Union City. They have, I believe, St. Peter's Prep has 4 league games left, including games against a game against Kearney at Kearney, which probably, if they have not clinched the division by then, they will have a chance to clinch it that night. Whereas in the National Division, we've got a very, very interesting race where Hoboken is off to an incredible start under first-year coach at the helm for Hoboken, Harry Inglis, who we hope to have on the show later this month. They are 10-3, undefeated in the National Division, holding a 1-game lead over the Ferris Bulldogs. And what's great about that is that in 3 days, Ferris will be traveling on Columbus Day to Hoboken for a key division matchup that more than likely will determine the winner of the National Division, and that would be Hoboken's first title in several years. In the NJIC, man, so much is going on in the NJIC. In the American Division, with 3 games to go, Midland Park and New Milford are tied at 4-1, and they will see each other on October 29th in probably the game that will decide the winner of that division. In the Colonial Division, Wallington and Waldwick are currently tied at 5-2-1, with Glen Rock right behind them, half a game back. That division is going to have an incredible end to it. And it's going to be very interesting to see if Coach Isaac Archibald and Wallington can hold off the legendary program of Waldwick and Coach John Niscazi, and also if Coach Beveren and his Glen Rock boys can have a say in it, as Glen Rock still has to play Waldwick in the divisional play. In the Liberty division, and can't wait to talk to Coach Sussman of Creskill. In the Liberty division, Creskill and Manchester Regional are tied at 6-1-1 with a half-game lead over Coach Ryan Dennis and Park Ridge. Creskill had a huge victory that I can't wait to talk about earlier this week over Manchester Regional, 2-1 victory. That must have been an incredible game. It was tied at the half, and Creskill was able to find a goal in the second half to basically reopen that division. In the Meadowlands division, where my beloved Woodridge is, that division has been knocked wide open with a few slip-ups by Pompton Lakes, where Pompton Lakes had an upset defeat to at Saddlebrook 2-1, and then Leonia just 2 days ago was able to reopen that division by going on the road to at Pompton Lakes and getting a 1-0 victory. So now, Pompton Lakes still controls its destiny, but after 8 games and only 2 games left for each team in that division, Pompton Lakes is at 6-2. Elmwood Park, Rutherford, and Leonia all at 5-3, 1 game back. That is going to be an incredible finish on match day 9 and match day 10 of that division. In the National Division, Beckton and Secaucus are tied at 4-1, and that division will absolutely be decided next week when Beckton hosts Secaucus on Thursday, October 16th. And then last but not least, in the Patriot division, we've got Lyndhurst is at 8-0 with 2 games left in that division as well. With 2 games left in that division, it is a 2-horse race between Lyndhurst and Harrison. Lyndhurst, as we remember, had that amazing upset of Harrison in overtime earlier this year. They have a 1-game lead over Harrison, and on October 27th, Lyndhurst travels to Harrison, where the division will be likely decided. So the NJIC is utterly heating up. There is not one team that has clinched the division yet in the NJIC. Then, in the Super Essex Conference, we have West Orange, as we will talk to the legendary Coach Nevins in a few minutes, is undefeated and holding off currently one of the other 8 undefeated teams in the state of New Jersey, number 1 in the nation, St. Benedict's. Now, West Orange, we will ask Coach Nevins. I don't know if they're scheduled to play against St. Benedict's yet or not. And in the Colonial Division, Verona is at 4-1. Bloomfield is right behind them at 3-1-1. And in the Freedom Division, it looks like Newark Tech is running away with it at 5-0 with a 2.5-game lead over Orange High School. Barringer and Cedar Grove are fighting it out in the Independence. Barringer has a half-game lead over Cedar Grove. Glen Ridge, Newark Academy, and Columbia are fighting it out in the Liberty Division. Glen Ridge is 3-0. Newark Academy is 3-1. Columbia is also 3-1. And lastly, in the National Division, Newark Collegiate has a 1-game lead over Payne Tech. Eagle Academy at 4-2 is not far back from there. Now, that was a lot to cover on the recap of where we are in the standings. Now we're in tournament play. I'll save Bergen County for last. But this weekend, we've got a lot going on. So, not necessarily this weekend, starting with the Somerset County Tournament, we are down to the quarterfinal round, all happening on Tuesday, with Pingree hosting number 9 Watchung Hills. In the 4-5 matchup, Montgomery is hosting Bridgewater Raritan. 3v6, Gill St. Bernard's is hosting Ridge in a, I would call that a derby, as they're very close in proximity, the schools. And number 2, Bernards, one of the other undefeated teams in the state of New Jersey at 10-0. Coach Joe Espada and Bernards will host Manville, who upset as the 10 seed Hillsborough this past week 2-1, and now will face off Bernards against Bernards. In the Union County Tournament, we are not going to see any games until next Union County Tournament. We've also got games coming up over this holiday weekend where in the first round, the play-in games, 8 Plainfield is hosting number 17 Brearley. That's Tuesday. Also on Tuesday, Union hosts Union Catholic, another derby there. On Columbus Day, 12 Linden hosts 13 Oratory. On Tuesday, Johnson hosts Roselle Park. On Monday, Columbus Day, New Providence hosts Hillside. Dayton will travel to Governor Livingston, and that will determine the second round matchups in the middle of next week. In the Hudson County Tournament, we are going to have an incredible weekend, starting off with St. Peter's Prep, talking a lot. St. Peter's Prep, number 1 team in the Hudson County Tournament, hosting number 9 Ferris, who upset Memorial on the road 4-1 earlier this week. In an intriguing matchup, it'll be intriguing to see what Coach Portillo and his boys, the Dickinson Rams, will be able to do tomorrow at 6 p.m. when they go to Kearney in Soccertown, USA. In an intriguing matchup that probably kicked off only a few minutes ago, Harrison is hosting Hoboken, who is in the quarterfinals for the first time in over a decade. And tomorrow at high noon, Bayonne travels to Union City, who is the number 2 seed. In my opinion, I think we're going to see a St. Peter's Kearney semifinal and a Harrison Union City semifinal. I think the top seeds will be able to advance, and let's see if I am proven wrong with any upsets there. We also have the Tri-County Tournament, Hunterdon Warren Sussex Tournament. The quarterfinal round kicks off all on Tuesday, actually. Every game will be Tuesday. Number 1, Hunterdon Central, will face off against Wallkill Valley, the number 8 seed. Delaware Valley, the 4 seed, will host North Hunterdon. In a 3-11 matchup, Pope John defeated Phillipsburg earlier this week in an upset. So Pope John will get to travel to number 3 Hackettstown, and Sparta travels to number 2 Voorhees. Those quarterfinals are all this coming Tuesday. Then, in the Morris County Tournament, we are already in the quarterfinal round, which also will take place all on Tuesday. Number 1 Del Barton will take on number 8 Morris Knolls. Morristown upset number 5 Montville earlier this week and gets to travel to number 4 Chatham. In the 3-6 matchup, Randolph will face off against Morris Hills. And in the 2-7 matchup, Madison will be hosting Mount Olive. In the Newark Public Schools Tournament, we are down to the semifinal round, and the semifinals will be tomorrow. The number 1 seed Newark Eastside will take on number 5 Science Park, who upset Newark Central in a penalty shootout. And in the other semifinal, number 2 Barringer will host Shabazz. That Shabazz-Barringer matchup is going to be very interesting. I have a feeling that Shabazz may upset Barringer and face off Newark Eastside in the Newark Public School Championship. Then, in the New Jersey, I believe it's the Technical Advisory Council Tournament for Groups 1 and 2, the matchup for who gets to play Newark Tech in the semifinal was played today. We don't have the outcome yet. It was West Caldwell Tech against Perth Amboy Magnet, whereas the other semifinal is already set. Somerset Tech will be traveling to Pennsauken Tech. And in the Group 3 and 4 matchup, we already know that Bergen Tech is in the championship game and will host the championship game, and they are awaiting the winner of West Hampton Tech and Gloucester Tech. In the Passaic County Tournament, which will have the quarterfinals this weekend, all tomorrow, great matchups. We've got West Milford at 2 p.m., number 1 seed hosting Wayne Valley. That's a trickier 1-8 matchup than you would expect. In the 4-5 matchup at 1 p.m., Patterson Kennedy will host Passaic, who is on a tear. Coach Polaro and Passaic are having a heck of a season. I predict an upset there. In the 3, we have Clifton, who is not having a great season for their standards, hosting at 1 p.m. Pompton Lakes. It'll be interesting to see what the NJIC team can do there against the Big North Clifton. And then at 1 p.m., the number 2 seed Wayne Hills host Passaic Tech. The Bergen County Tournament is finally here. And I would say that there's some controversy, in my opinion, here. And maybe controversy is a little bit of a strong word, but there are definitely some teams and seeds that raise the eyebrows, and it's still going to make for an incredible tournament. But there are definitely some teams that I know, without mentioning coaches' names to keep their confidentiality, and as an attorney, I guess it's something I'm all too accustomed to, right? But we definitely have some intriguing matchups, and we do have our first result in the Bergen County Tournament, where Oltapan, with a goal in the 70th, came from behind and beat Lyndhurst 2-1, and now will face off on Tuesday against Ramapo in a great matchup, Oltapan versus Ramapo. We have another great matchup tomorrow that I will be discussing with Coach Tommy Schultz. His number 10 seeded Mawa will be hosting the NJIC Rutherford and John Rendazzo. That is going to be a great, great game. In an intriguing matchup, number 11 Cliffside Park will be hosting number 22 Pascack Valley. I believe these seeds may have caught the attention of certain people. You know, Pascack Valley at 6 and 7, edging it out over some other teams in the gold tournament, and I'll explain that. I think that one has raised an eyebrow, so that's really going to catch. It has caught the attention of several other teams that felt that they've been snubbed from the Bergen County Tournament, and I may not disagree with some of those teams. It's going to be an interesting matchup. Northern Highlands will be hosting Elmwood Park tomorrow at 1 p.m. in another Big North NJIC matchup. Dwight Englewood will be hosting in yet another Big North NJIC matchup. Riverdale, another NJIC Big North matchup. Waldwick will be hosting, Bergenfield, and Ramsey hosting Leonia. And last but not least, Emerson Borough will be hosting Demarest in the 16-17 matchup for the right to play number 1 Bergen Catholic. Now, who are the top 8 seeds that are, automatically in the second round? Number 1 is Bergen Catholic. Number 2 is Ramapo. Number 3 is Tenafly. 4 Don Bosco Prep. 5 Ridgewood. 6 Wallington. 7 Fort Lee. And 8 Glenrock. The Bergen County Tournament is always an incredible, incredible tournament, and it will continue to be an incredible tournament. However, and I will expand on it even more after my guests are here and maybe talk about it with some of them. I don't know yet. The Bergen County Tournament for years has been an incredible tournament and will always be an incredible tournament. The Bergen Cup, which I thought was a mini version of the Bergen County Tournament, was always an incredible tournament. And man, did it have some amazing matchups. And I can attest to that as both having great runs We had a great run in 2015 in the Bergen Cup tournament where we upset Northern Valley Demarest 1-0. And then we went on to the semifinal, and Rutherford just cleaned our clock. They were a great team that year. And it was an incredible experience. And then we've also had other years where we made the Bergen Cup. The Bergen County Coaches Association took over all of the tournaments, and last year they instituted a three-tournament system, for lack of better words, for Bergen County. The names weren't that appealing. BIT1, BIT2. I think we could have a little bit more creativity with the names, but that's okay. Though they still proved to be amazing. Last year, unfortunately, we lost in the championship game after another incredible run to Westwood. Injuries got the best of us. We were missing two starters and absolutely key players, but that's the way the ball bounces, and that's why it's the game that we love, because it has highs and lows, great moments and low moments. But, now all of a sudden, and most coaches are saying this, and again, I don't know if they're saying it to other people or want to say it on the record, but out of nowhere, now there's a fourth tournament, which I don't know what the intent was behind it. I don't know why there wasn't enough communication. I think it's a little bit of... I live in a world where transparency is very important, and I think it could have been a little bit more transparent because everybody was caught by surprise when a fourth tournament came out and nobody knew about it, or at least the majority of the coaches did not know about it. So now, before I bring on my guest, and I'll explain it in the closing more, what my thoughts are on this. The Bergen County Tournament is the Bergen County Tournament. 24 teams, 8 have byes, 16 are playing in the play-in games, and like today, perfect example to explain it, Lyndhurst, who loses in the play-in game, will now be one of the top 8 seeds in what was last year the BIT1. Now it's called the Gold Tournament, I believe, Bergen Invitational Gold Tournament. I may not have the name. Yeah, I think it's Bergen Invitational Gold Tournament, where they get a bye into the next round, where instead in the Bergen Gold Tournament, the 16 teams, and some of them I believe should have made the Bergen County Tournament, are playing in the play-in game there. The winners of the gold play-in games will face off against the 8 seeds that lost their play-in games in the Bergen County Tournament. I feel like I need an algebraic formula or a flow chart here to show you. And whereas the 8 teams that lose their play-in game in the gold tournament now drop down into their very own tournament, the silver tournament, straight into the quarterfinals with those 8 teams. Whereas the quote-unquote bottom 12 teams in Bergen County are playing in the bronze tournament. This new tournament created where it is broken down into 4 groups of 3. You play everybody in your group, so 2 games. One you host, one you play, you go away, you go on the road. The winners of each group go into the semifinal. And I know because I'm obviously still an assistant coach at Woodridge. We are not aware, and none of the other coaches are aware what the tiebreaker is at the moment in the event that there is a tie, because all of us are asking ourselves, well, what if everybody goes 1-1 in their group play? How do you determine who wins the group? You're going to ask a team to come back and show up for a shootout, or you're going to flip a coin. So I hope that there is a preparation for this. But without further ado, and I will talk a lot more about the Bergen County Tournament, I'm going to bring on now the legendary Coach Doug Nevins of West Orange, 14-0 and one of the only 8 undefeated teams left in the entire state of New Jersey. As mentioned, we're here. I'm here with the legendary coach, Doug Nevins of West Orange. It's a pleasure and an honor to have you here, Coach. How's everything going, Coach?
I appreciate you having me on. I look forward to talking about New Jersey high school soccer, and it's something that I've loved doing and talking about for a long time.
Well, Coach, and it's going to be like I want to be like a sponge, like a little kid seeing like one of his favorite soccer players here. But I've been asking every coach so far that's been on the show. Tell us a little bit about yourself, your soccer background, how you got to West Orange, and everything there.
So, in terms of my playing background, I was really lucky in that I was born in New Jersey, but my dad, who worked for Prudential, got transferred to California. And I was 5 years old, and I grew up, I was 5, 6, 7. And out there in the 70s, that was probably besides the East Coast and in and around New York City, California was one of the biggest spots to play soccer in the country. And living there for 3 years and competing with other really good players, that kind of helped me get a head start. And when we moved to Pennsylvania, the level of competition versus California was not the same. And I went from I don't remember this as a 5-year-old, but my dad said I was one of the best 2 or 3 players. But when we got to Pennsylvania, I had to play with older kids because the competition just wasn't the same. And then, after high school and college, I played a little bit professionally. I met my wife and we got engaged, and I became a teacher. And when I became a teacher, I didn't necessarily think about coaching. And my mentor, Fred Sparrow, who was the old varsity head coach at West Orange, asked me to volunteer. I had a great time. Roger Rubinetti, big shout out at Livingston, who I played with at Real Wyckoff, needed a JV coach. And I said, all right, I'll do it. And I did that. I was the freshman coach 1 year at West Orange. And then in 2000, which was, I think, my 3rd or 4th year teaching, I became the varsity coach at 26 or 27. And I was really excited and very naive, like thought I knew a lot and then quickly realized I didn't know half of what I thought I knew.
So, Coach, I mean, I'm sure you've been getting so many accolades this year, you and your team, and rightfully so. So, this year, you've already achieved over your 400th victory and counting as a coach. You guys are one of the only now 8 undefeated teams left in the entire state of New Jersey. And you're doing it against big programs. I mean, you've got already victories over West Essex, Montclair Kimberly, Seton Hall Prep, and the list goes on. What is it that is so special about this team right now on this undefeated run?
It's like when every year when you start out, you look for these certain qualities, and obviously having great players helps. If you want to win at the highest level, you need a combination of, you need technical, you need athleticism, you need physicality, like size, and you need experience. And usually, if you have a good team, you might have 2 of 4. If you have a very good team, you might have 3 of 4. If you have all 4 and you have some depth and you look around and you say, oh man, like we have a pretty good team. And one area where we've been really blessed is our alumni is really strong with coming back every summer and playing our high school kids. And most summers, our alumni, which we have 19 different guys who played Division I and probably 50 guys who played D2 and D3, when they come back and make teams, a lot of years they kick my varsity team's butt.
Of
And
course.
that's okay,
Yeah.
because we don't play many high school teams that have guys like Maurice Williams, who played for Seton Hall in their Elite Eight run, and then Notre Dame at the NCAA championship. Jelani Williams, who played at St. John's. Brian Martinez played at Seton Hall, and we have professional guys. So these are really high level guys. And this was the first summer ever where we beat the alumni every game.
Wow.
And after the night practices, the alumni were coming off saying, this team's good. Like, you just don't have any time to play. They pressure you so hard. They're so quick everywhere. They're Marcus in the back is this big, imposing guy. And then everywhere else in the field, you have really good guys. And I think it's kind of a combination of all the qualities you would want, plus having good depth, because you're going to have injuries. And if guys get hurt and you bringing in guys who are just about as good, then you're really lucky. Because a lot of years, that's not the case.
I mean, those are incredible points, especially for any young coach out there. Would you say that this team is also on a mission after how last season ended?
I think last year we had a good team. And what a lot of young coaches don't understand is you can be very good and be right there with those best teams. But what it takes to beat some of those teams is you have to be in those games a few times. And then the guys kind of know, like, okay, we were here last year. Last year we beat Seton Hall the first time, they beat us the second time. We played Montclair tough, but they beat us. Same with MK. Eastside we beat in overtime. But a lot of these games where we were close and we were not quite there, but we brought back so many of those guys that had played in those games. And so they can tell the younger guys and figure out, okay, we were short in this regard. Let's figure out how we can be a little stronger. And that usually does pay off, that you have that experience. So I think you're correct in saying they're kind of on a mission. And I think their goal was just, can we just be a little better than last year? And then maybe that'll mean all the difference.
And how are you, because I know that this is something that a lot of coaches don't get to experience, but there are some every year. How are you and your staff trying to manage the undeniable elephant in the room, the undefeated season?
Yeah, I mean, in a weird way, what kind of takes the pressure off is the expectation of beating St. Benedict's is it's just not realistic. Could it happen? Sure. I mean, we're a very talented team. We're very good, but they're just super, super talented. They're number one in the country for a reason. So in a weird way, that kind of takes the pressure off, because eventually when we play them, the expectation is if we lose, it's not going to be the end of the world. We've always in this program put our sights on winning the section.
Yes.
And if you win the section, then it gives you the chance to play for Group 4. We're in the unfortunate but fortunate situation where in our league for years we've had Seton Hall Prep, and now MKA has become a state power, and then add St. Benedict's in. And these private schools are excellent, excellent teams, great coaches, great players.
Right.
But when it gets down to state tournament time and you get to Group 4, Kearney, Clifton, Montclair, Ridgewood.
Correct.
And then on the other side, Scotch Plains, Westfield, Elizabeth, they're all in the same boat as us. They're all public schools. They're all trying to convince their kids to stay. Don't play MLS next. Don't go to private school. And when we face off, they're all great programs, but you have a shot because you're much, much closer in terms of talent and ability.
You've hit on some of the topics that can't wait to talk to you about tonight. So one of the reason why I reached out to you, Coach, as you know, is I was truly inspired by all the videos that came out the night of the incredible atmosphere and victory over Seton Hall Prep. And the videos showed why high school soccer is so incredible, why I've always loved it, why I always want to be back in it. And then you put out there, your team account put out this great post that I've saved it. I'm going to save it and hopefully use it for my future coaching position. But it says, you said high school soccer is boring, think again. Tell us why high school soccer is important and why kids should not go to the MLS next, or not only go to MLS next, and think about that decision.
Well, first of all, with high school soccer being boring or being a lower level, I mean, having played Division I college soccer and having sent so many guys, I think club coaches are a little dishonest when they talk about the fact that, if you don't play at this level, you'll never get recruited. You won't be able to play at that. High school soccer, even though it looks less technical and less, it's far closer to college in terms of the competitiveness, the physicality, the intensity. I mean, when you watch a club game, they are really good players, but it looks like a practice match.
Yeah.
You know, they roll the ball out and they play and they knock it. And then after 20 minutes, you sub and this and they're great players, but it just doesn't. If you see 10 slide tackles in a club game, that is rare.
Right.
And the heading, the battling, the celebrations for goals.
Oh, man.
You're never going to get a crowd at a club game. And let me just say this. I coached the PDA for 14 years and I loved every minute of it. But it's different. I coached on the boys side for most of my career there. And then on the girl side, when my daughter got older, I worked with some amazing coaches and worked with some incredible players. But it's rare at club that you're going to have the same family thing. I went to private school and I'm jealous of my kids because they grow up together.
Right.
Marcus Jackson, Carl Hall, and Luke Brown played together when they were like 6, 7 years old.
I love that.
And so they have pictures of themselves and it's really cool. And then you get to high school and you're playing with your friends and you really care about each other and you want to enjoy this. And then like the atmosphere at the Seton Hall prep game. And we get that every year. And most years we don't beat them because they're terrific. But the crowd comes out and we get and it's so fun for the kids. They'll remember it for the rest of their lives. And it's something you're going to always talk about. And when you get to college, if you're lucky enough to play in college,
Exactly.
many, many, many of those games will just be parents and some friends, but it's not going to be a massive crowd that's as invested. So there's just so many things about high school soccer. And that's not even getting to like the county tournament, the state tournament as the crowd builds.
Right.
I can remember playing a game down at Kearney and we lost in a sectional final and there had to be 3,000 people in Kearney's football stadium. And they scored on us to beat us in overtime. And we're disappointed, but the crowd is going crazy. And the Kearney kids are running over to the crowd and they're giving them like a standing ovation. And you're sad for yourself, but you're like, what an amazing atmosphere.
Absolutely.
These kids get to remember playing in front of this huge crowd, tooth and nail, all the way to overtime. And they went on to win the whole thing, Group 4. They were an amazing team, but that's what sports should be. These kids will tell their kids about that. And you're not going to get that in club soccer. And by the way, if you're a great enough player, it doesn't matter where you play. Because Marcus Jackson grew up playing for what some people would say was a lower level club because his parents were loyal and liked his coach.
Sure.
And he stayed and stayed and stayed till he went to Ironbound's now MLS Next Team. And he said, I want to play high school. And the coach said, go for it. And if you're a good enough player, they find you. UCLA found him.
Exactly. I mean, come on.
And I mean, there's not many programs bigger than that. And if you've seen him play, you'll say, okay, this kid looks like a really high level player.
Yeah.
And so that's what I tell my kids. I don't ever say to them, don't do it.
Right.
A lot of them, I'll say, try it. Many of them don't even make it a full club year. And they'll come back and say, it's not what they told me it was going to be.
That's right.
Because it's not.
It's not.
They'll have 22, 24 guys, 18 make a roster. They only sub like professional rules. So first half, they sub no one. Second half, they may not sub for another 15 minutes. So many kids play 10, 15 minutes or 0 minutes. And you're training all week and you're one game you don't play. And how that helps your development, I have no idea.
I could not agree more with everything that you said. And I've been talking about it on the podcast with other coaches that, like you said, the atmosphere, the family aspect of it, playing for your hometown, your high school. And that's why your post, I gravitated to what happened after the Seton Hall prep game. And it led me to contact you because I felt the same way as you. I played for a small Group 1 high school. I played Division I soccer. I felt that prepared me more than the club teams that I was playing on because, like you said, the intensity cannot be matched at the club level. So Coach, I mean, what goals do you have now that we're well into the October month of the high school season? I have to assume that you guys you want to win the whole thing.
Yeah, I mean, the conference play is pretty much over. We're trying to find a date to play St. Benedict's. Possible we could meet them in the county finals, and then that could count for both conference and county. That would be tremendous because in order to get there, you're going to have to win the first round in the quarters. And then in the semis, we don't have the seed yet. But again, you're going to face MK, Seton Hall Prep, Montclair, someone really good just to get the right to play St. Benedict's in the finals. And then, it's all going to come down to the state tournament. And we're currently the number one seed in our section. And getting to play at home is huge because I don't know what our exact numbers are. We've scored 60 something goals and conceded, I think, 6. But every one of our goals we've conceded has been away. And at home,
That's an X factor.
yes. So we're very good. And I feel like the kids are just a little more confident at home. And to get to play all 4 of your sectional games there. And if we were to win the section, the Group 4 semis would be at our field because North 1 gets to host.
Yeah.
So if it was Scotch Plains, Westfield, Elizabeth, someone like that, it would be awesome. And then you got to go down to Franklin and play Central or South in the Group 4 title. And one tradition we have, and my alumni kind of created this, is on our practice T-shirts, we put stars. And the littler stars are for sectional championships, and the bigger stars are for Group 4 state championships. And
That's great. I love that.
the alumni all love wearing the T-shirts. And if we win another championship, they want the newest one.
Right.
But the kids get a big kick out of saying, like, we want to put another star or 2 stars on the shirt. And then they get to design it so they can, come back and say, oh, that, this shirt, we did this one. And it's pretty cool. And then, then when they're in their 30s and they come back and they look at a shirt and it's got 9 stars now, and they go, you see the 5th star? That was us.
That's beautiful.
And that big star was us. And it's to honor them.
Right.
Which is really cool.
Coach, for all of us coaches that are newer to the game or newer in this great profession that we're in, you obviously have a culture of winning, right? How does one go about? I know there's different ways, but there's got to be some ingredients that are needed. And with your plethora of knowledge and experience, what is something that you could share with all the coaches and players that listen, but especially the coaches? How do you build a tradition of winning and a culture of winning?
I think one of the hardest things when you're young is that you want to lean into the talented guys. And talented guys sometimes can be like a big tease because you'll think we can have a great team if we just have a really talented team. And then as you get older, you realize that it's like the character guys that are going to create the culture and create a winning program. Because when you're asking them to run sprints or do something they don't want to do, if your best players tell you, my leg hurts, and then they go sit on the sideline, my asthma's bothering me, it's the guys who are the dogs that you'll ask them to do 10 sprints and everyone's done and they're all dying. And they go, Coach, I think we should do like 3 more. And you're like, oh, this guy right here, we're going to win because of guys like that. And when you start to highlight guys like that, and when you're a young coach, what you should do is if you take over a new program, really highlight your freshmen and sophomores and develop that rapport with them so that by like your 2nd and 3rd year, they're now your juniors and seniors. And once they have what you want, then they can kind of teach and facilitate with the younger guys. And I always say this to my teams, even when we've had years where we've been just pretty good, nothing special,
right?
Like 11 and 8. We hang in there, we battle the great teams, but we're not talented enough. I just love that coaches always say, man, your team plays so hard. You guys are so hard to play. They just fight so hard. And it just comes down to, creating high standards and saying, look, this is what we expect. And we're not going to lower the standards. And if you get upperclassmen that don't want to do it, as painful as it is, you got to take younger guys or less talented guys and say, all right, I'm sorry, guys, these guys are going to have to play. And most kids respond to that because now the talented guy goes, well, I want to play. You just can't give in. Because if you give in, and it is harder today than it's ever been, because parents want to enable their kids.
Yeah.
Instead of like our parents, old school parents,
Absolutely.
my dad would have been like, get back out there.
Same.
You're running the sprint.
Same here.
But parents today will say, oh, but his leg hurts. And they make excuses. And with technology and computers and phones, they are a little lazier just by nature because the world's easier.
I agree.
But once you get them to realize it's not that hard, and you get them to realize like there's no cutting corners, these are the standards, you want to get there, this is what we do, then you can reinforce that. And once you have really good kids that buy in, then you don't have to say anything because they say it. And if they say it, it's 10 times more powerful than if we say it.
I mean,
because if Marcus Jackson stands on the line and says, guys, we got to run 5 more sprints, then nobody says anything.
right.
And if Carl Hall says, we're not doing this right, we should practice it again, they all say, let's go do it again. And so they do, which is great. And then it makes your job so much easier.
I mean, that's beyond wise words. And it seems like you've also built a community. Obviously, you've spoken about the alumni. Is a community and the youth development system important to West Orange's success? Like how involved are you in the classes that will become high school classes?
So the way I've always developed my younger kids, because I never had any access to West Orange United. I mean, I didn't have an adversarial relationship with them. I just wasn't, coaching there and involved with it. I've run camps since 2002, and that allowed me to get to know my kids.
Right.
And I think a lot of coaches love their summers and they don't want to give up the time, which I get. But if I had to look back and say what was a huge part of our success, it's, spending 5-6 weeks a summer on the field with 8, 9, 10, 11-year-olds. You develop this great relationship with them. And then they really like you and they want to play for you. They can't wait. One of our sophomores this year, who's a tremendous player, is Marcus Williams. And his older brother, Maurice, was an amazing high school and then college player at Seton Hall and Notre Dame. Well, when Marcus was little, he came to camp. And after Maurice graduated, he used to come be our ball boy. And he would come and he would run the lines. So he was in 5th, 6th, 7th grade. And he wanted to run the lines. And now here he is as a sophomore, and he's starting varsity, and he's this great player. But he's been looking forward to play for West Orange High School since he was like 9 or 10 years old.
Wow.
And when you have that, and these kids, they want to come play. Again, Marcus could play MLS next, but he wants to play for West Orange High School. So that's what you want them to feel, that it does matter when you're at a Kearney or a Clifton, or these big programs where they really grow up wanting to play for their high school.
I mean, Coach, I feel like I could talk to you forever because these are words that a lot of coaches that are going to listen to this, or even players, I think I'm soaking it all in because I'm on a sabbatical and hopefully I'll be able to get back in it. But these are really important lessons that make a difference because I've felt that in the 12 years that I just coached for a program, that sometimes you get lost in the, like you said, I clinged on to maybe the better players, but instead, like you said, it's built from the bottom up. And I mean, you're at 405 wins and counting, and I hope for many, many more because I hope you stick around for a long, long time. Coach, I mean, what you're doing is incredible. What your team is doing is incredible. And I can't wait to keep following you guys every game because this is exciting. And I hope you guys can stay undefeated all the way.
I appreciate you reaching out. And I love trying to, reach out and help the young coaches. And I have to say, for all those guys out there, I've had over 100 losses. And that's not even counting all the mistakes I've made. And the only way in 26 years you get to this point is by failing, and it's okay. And that's how you learn. And you just say, okay, this didn't work. I got to do this. And this worked better. Maybe I'll do this. And that's not just in tactics, but the off the field stuff, like you said, with the kids. And then when you do that repeatedly, you start to say, okay, this is going to work. And then just believe in yourself. I've been lucky that my wife has always been by my side, my daughter. You just need somebody that when you're having a bad spell and a losing streak, that they're there and they say, hey, you've done this before, you can do it again.
Absolutely. Well, Coach, thank you so much. I wish you nothing but the best. I see our next guest is coming on, but Coach Nevins, you and West Orange have been incredible. So I hope
Thanks
we
for
stay
having
in
me.
touch. I hope we stay in touch, and I'll make sure to come see more of your games the rest of the season.
All right. Take care. It was great talking to you.
Take care, Coach. And we're here with Coach Joe Sussman of Cresskill. How you doing, Coach?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm doing great, and I'm excited to bring you on. You guys are actually off to also yourselves a great start. And as I've been asking every coach, and I thank you for coming on, just tell us a little bit about yourself as a coach and how you got to Creskill, and we'll start off from there.
Thanks for having me on. So I grew up in New York, so I'm not I grew up in Suffern outside Mawa, so familiar with the area, like Bosco. I had a bunch of friends from there, like go to Joe's or Bosco. I played at Suffern for a couple years. Then my whole career journey, I ended up teaching North Carolina for a couple years, coached the JV and assistant varsity coach down there my first 2 years teaching, which was pretty wild. I literally, day one, they're like, we need a JV soccer coach. I was like, sounds good. Then moved back up here, bounced around a few different districts, got hired at Creskill. Week after that, I got a call from Beth Delvecchio saying that Mike Burke, our superintendent at the time, said that I was a soccer guy and I needed a soccer coach, and got the JV gig, did that for 4 years. And then after my predecessor, Coach Serby, left and went to Nanuet, I got the head coach job, and I'm in year 3 now.
And you guys have done really well. Creskill has done very well under you. And I remember, I think actually you and I met, that was your first year as the varsity coach. And
Yeah.
you had been rained out almost the entire year.
That was our 4th game of the season, and it was like October 1st.
And then it was
a wild year.
Incredible run. Didn't you guys win the BIT?
We won the BIT that year, yeah.
Yeah.
We started off going 0-4, won 2 games, then lost 2, so we were 2-6, and then we went on a run of like winning 10 straight.
It was incredible.
And it was wild because we had the state playoffs going on where we lost to Walblick in the quarterfinal 1-0. A great game, and then we had the BIT final after that, and we still had 2 league games to play after that.
I remember.
It was insane. The craziest first season I could possibly have.
And it was a great season. You capped it off with a championship, and now, I mean, talk about a week that you're having and that you're about to go into tomorrow. Before you came on in the monologue, I mentioned your victory over Manchester Regional, and that has completely reopened the division, and now you're tied for first place. Take us through that game, because that was a big matchup, and you guys needed to win that game.
We desperately needed to win that game, and actually 2 weeks prior to that, my starting center back, a senior, tore his ACL, so he's out for the year. And huge loss for us. And then our second game of the year, my starting right back, also a senior, returning right back, broke his ankle. So I'm down 2 guys in my back line. So we're going to that game knowing our back line's kind of patchwork. I got freshmen stepping up. And then my center mid, Nikki Panulo, starting 4-year varsity player, is sick and was not at that game. So we're going into it starting a freshman at center mid.
Wow.
A lot of stacked on us, but my whole mentality all year has been next man up. Everybody be prepared. Like, hey, it's your opportunity to shine. Like, I know I got some of my baseball stuff behind me. I think I have a Lou Gehrig thing there. And because I know baseball, I'm like, hey, Wally Pipp today. Like, you step in, take a spot, just earn it.
Great example.
And our sophomore Jacob Traka, who's having a pretty good season, he stepped up, had a goal and an assist in the game, and we were able to like just hang on, hold out, and beat him. Because our first game there was a wild one too. We tied 2-2 double overtime, and that game we actually conceded a goal with a minute left in regulation, and off the ensuing kickoff, my other center mid, Bozidar Gavrilovic, hit a 65-yard goal which apparently ties the state record,
Wow.
to force the overtime period.
Wow.
The two of the craziest games I've been a part of this year, but we worked really hard, just kept believing in each other, and we were able to pull it out.
And now, in what doesn't all happen often, I'm assuming that you and your players are salivating for tomorrow's revenge matchup against
Yes.
Bergen Charter.
Yes, we are. We've been eyeing that one. As soon as we found out it was them, I was like, guys, don't even focus about that. It's after Manchester. This is just a rematch from basically a week ago. We know exactly what to expect. I know Bergen Charter knows exactly what to expect with us. It should be a good game, and hopefully, goes a little differently this time.
How tight is that field, though, man?
It is so small. It reminded me of 2 years ago we played it against Lyndhurst and they had that little small field.
Yes.
And it reminded me very much of that like every ball we were hitting was just too much pace on it. And hopefully we now have that home field advantage where we don't have to concede some of those bad touches to start off the game.
Right. Because you guys are playing them over there, right?
Yeah, they're the home team.
Yeah. Yeah. Let me ask you a question, and it's okay if you don't want to answer it. In my opinion, with your record, I think you should have been looked at for the Bergen County Tournament. What are your thoughts on that?
I honestly expected to be kind of where we are.
Okay.
I know the committees generally look at like who you've played, and I know looking at it really, like we did have a nice win over Ridgefield to start the year. Harrison is a really good club.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
that game I went into with like 2 subs, and that's when my kid broke his ankle.
Right.
So like they're good, but like just based on like the records, like we beat Hawthorne twice. I know they're not having a very good year. Butler started the year off not so well, but they've picked it up a lot. They had a lot of injuries. They're playing very well. So like those were good wins. Park Ridge was a tough game for us. It was not in double overtime. Uh, like I'm not too mad about it. I kind of anticipated being where we are, I think.
That's fair. That's fair. And what are your expectations, and what are you going into this tournament as in this first matchup and obviously beyond, hopefully?
Yeah. Well, given like we know Bergen Charter, I think that we can compete with them. I'm hopeful that we can pull this one out. And I've been stressing to my players all season since I've been here, one day at a time, one game at a time, just live in the moment. We got to be present here. We can't look ahead. Don't want any like trap games, so to say. We can't start looking at the scoreboard or the standings or any of that stuff. I just want to focusing on what we're doing one day at a time, and we'll go from there. So Bergen Charter on Saturday, and then Paramus Monday if we don't get rained out.
Well, I mean, it's definitely it's got to be exciting times right now, though, for you and the program, because you're in the thick of a divisional title race.
Mm-hmm.
You're obviously getting the chance to start the BIT, whatever they want to call it, this year, and everything is lining up for an interesting finish for you guys in for the season. Is this kind of where you thought you would be at this stage of the year?
I kind of thought so at this point in the year we'd be like in this situation. Honestly, I'm more surprised with this past year we were actually able to introduce a freshman team because we had enough interest.
Wow,
So our freshmen are actually playing at Ramco tomorrow. So good luck to them tomorrow morning.
that's incredible.
And then our JV is actually they got the number 8 seed in the JV county tournament, so they're
Wow.
hosting MVOT on Monday as long as it doesn't pour.
I mean, that's really impressive, Joe, for a
Yeah.
Group 1 school to have a
Yeah,
freshman.
it really helped that we had like 17 freshmen come out this year, and then yeah, it's the most I've had. We haven't had a freshman team since my first year 7 years ago, and even then we only had 6 kids.
So
And then
how many kids are you in your program then?
I started off in the summer with 53, and then I had like several quit. And I ended up at like 45, and now it's, I have 3 kids out for the year with injuries. Another kid just sprained his ankle, so he's out for a couple weeks. So I'm like around 42.
It's really impressive for a Group 1, and
Yeah,
that's
and
a
we've got more
testament.
coming. We had 45 kids come out for middle school. We haven't had a team in 6 years. So we have like 20 kids playing middle school right now, and
So
I think
you
25.
school program.
Yeah, we just added it finally.
Wow. I've always wanted to understand more of that, because I think it's obviously a value to the high school program.
Mhm.
So how does the middle school soccer season work in Bergen County?
So, like, I actually talk to our middle school coach on a daily basis. I know schedule-wise, they play most of the other middle schools around the around the county. So, like, I know we played Hohokus earlier this week, Cliffside or Woodcliff Lake. Um, uh, I know Cavallini beat us in a game. I think we're like 6-1 or something right now at the middle school level.
That's incredible.
Yeah, honestly, I'm super lucky because our feeder program, the rec program in town, the Cresskill Cougars United, they are phenomenal. Everybody that's involved in that does an amazing job, and like I'm hoping that more kids now are seeing all these middle school guys playing, hearing it on the morning announcements about how well they're doing, and that
Right.
everybody's having so
Right.
much fun. I see so much soccer gear through the school. I love it.
That's fantastic, man. That's I'm telling you, that's a
Yeah,
testament to what you're doing over there. You're doing a heck of a job.
thank you.
Is a turf field in the horizon?
I can hope. I know on our district webpage they have a thing there like for donations for it. So maybe eventually we are playing most of our games on the football field this year. So at least I've got that going for me.
Is the football field turf or grass?
It's grass, but it doesn't really get used very often except for our games. So it's in very good condition right now.
So, what is your outlook as we enter almost the final leg of the season? What are you hoping to achieve this year now that you see where you are?
Well, I know beginning of the year, even my seniors, because I would meet with them, their goal was to try to win the league. I think that's in play for us. We just
Absolutely.
have two more league games left. So we're just Hawthorne Christian and Park Ridge stand in that. And then getting a good seed for the state tournaments. What our ultimate goal is, because as I told our kids with our grass field, we want to have that home field advantage of making everybody come through Creskill and deal with our bad bounces that we are very accustomed to.
Absolutely.
So if we can pull that off, win a few big games, just keep climbing those standings one day at a time and have a good run. Just keep playing one game at a time.
Yeah, and I'm assuming that obviously no one ever wants injuries, especially to
Oh,
upperclassmen, but it sounds like it's setting itself up for the future as well, though.
yeah, honestly, as much as like it is horrible to have, like I have 9 seniors this year. Two of them are out for the season now. One has a sprained ankle, which could be potentially season ending, depending on how severe it is. I hate seeing that, but I know that the younger guys stepping up, like I have a lot of sophomores. I have a couple freshmen playing up. Plus our JV team's doing well. Like I feel like we have the pieces next year to be able to continue with where we are and be even stronger. Because I know the eighth grade class is actually really strong too.
So basically, this should be shaping up for the next couple of years. Knock on wood for some good consistency in success.
Yeah, it's surprisingly for a Group One school, like we've been able to consistently have guys coming up that can just kind of fill those spots. 'Cause I know last year I graduated 14, and going into the season I was like, that's 7, 8 starters that are not back, and then I lost two of my returning starters first 3 weeks of the season. So it kind of has a way of working itself out that guys step up, which is a very like I'm thankful for that because I'm glad they've all bought in. They're always trying to improve every day. It's one thing I preach is to try to be better every single day, and that don't just be complacent because you're starting today because somebody else is coming for your job tomorrow. So keep proving that you're the guy.
Now, are any of the guys that were involved in the what was that 2023 championship run, are any of those guys currently on your team now?
Yeah, actually, a few of them. Nick Canulo's been there. This is his senior year. Pretty much all my seniors. So Nicky's there. Alon was there on that team. He actually was injured in that Walblick game. We lost 1-0. And still played through it. Him, Greg, who was my center back, who's out. He was starting right back at the time. Bozidar was on the bench playing role thing there. Angelo was the backup goalie then. So we have a bunch of guys that were involved in that and like got to experience being the VIP championship, being that playoff run, and same thing last year being the state run. So we got that experience at least.
And you're clearly building something, I think, special at Creskill, and having gone up against you and watched your results, you're definitely building something special. How have you been doing it? What's been your secrets over there? Because you're a very consistent program under your helm.
Yeah. So one thing I try to do, and I kind of learned this when I was in high school with my is when I was at Suffern, I had Robert Walkley was our head coach, and he I think like 8 years ago was inducted into the New York State Hall of Fame for coaching. Yeah, he was great. But one thing I learned from him is just to like be very fluid with things and kind of just not be committed to one system. So based on my guys who I have, like I'm playing to their strengths. If I have a lot of guys that are really good on the outside, utilize that. If I have we played a 4-4-2 diamond at some points this year because I've got four very strong center midfielders. So want to take advantage of that. If we got more speed or somebody that can handle a different position, playing with whatever we had, especially as a Group 1 school, you got to take advantage of whatever
Very
pieces you've
true.
got and use them to your fullest. And sometimes you get guys that are really good team players. One of my guys during that BIT run was a natural striker, but we were struggling on the back line. And I was like, well, you were JV for me. You played sweeper. So can you
know
please
the
help us
feeling.
out and play sweeper? And he reluctantly did that. But anytime we were down in the game, it was, hey, go up and try to score. And he would. Like, he would put us on his back. So always need that too.
Absolutely. So focusing on tomorrow as my last question. So tomorrow at Bergen Charter, first round game. What time is the game kicking off?
4 p.m.
4 p.m. So in your opinion, having seen them already just a few days ago, what do you think are the keys to tomorrow's game for you guys to come out on top? Without giving anything away, obviously.
Yeah, I think the keys for us are minimizing mistakes on our end and capitalizing mistakes on their end. I think most high school sports come down to that. Like I also coach baseball, so same thing in that. If we can minimize the mistakes we make, especially on the back end, and capitalize on any mistakes that they make, take advantage of certain aspects of the game, I think that helps us out. Hopefully, more of my guys are healthy this week.
Joe, I wish you and Creskill nothing but the best of luck tomorrow, and I hope you can go on another deep run. Thanks for taking time out of a Friday night, and
Yeah, no problem.
best of luck to you guys tomorrow. I hope you can get the job done.
All right, thank you so much.
Thanks, Joe. Take care. Good luck.
Yep, you too. All right, thank you.
Bye. As stated before, I'm bringing on Coach Tommy Schultz from Mawa High School. Tommy, how you doing tonight, man?
I'm doing good, man. Thanks for having me on. The podcast's been great. I'm hoping I can bring some good insight tonight for you.
I appreciate it. Absolutely. Especially because it's nice to bring some Big North guys since I'm always used to the NJIC. So, Tommy, as I've been asking everybody, I think it's important and it's a good way to talk about you and your program. But tell us about your coaching background, your soccer background, and how you got to Mawa.
Yeah, so I played soccer since the age of like 5 or 6. I was lucky enough to grow up and play in Waldwick, that great soccer town. So I played for Coach Nochese. I was lucky enough to win a sectional championship my senior year with a group of guys that I played with from the age of 7 or 8 to into our 20s in adult leagues. So I was able to do that. I went to St. Thomas Aquinas in Spark Hill, New York.
Yeah.
Yeah. Had a chance to play, was burned out at the time, so decided not to. And then, as I'm sure you know, once you stop playing, you grow to miss it.
Absolutely.
So growing to miss it turned into coaching. I have a sister who's 4 years younger than me. My dad was like, "You're not going to sit on the couch all day." So I started coaching her. I was lucky enough to coach her. Yeah, I was lucky enough to coach her and her friends through basically their 4 years of high school. Her senior year of high school, the girls varsity coach at Waldwick at the time, Santiago Salme, asked me to volunteer. So I did that for my sister's senior year. That was amazing. It was such a special experience to coach her senior year.
Yeah.
And then I ended up becoming the JV coach that next year. And then when Coach Salme stepped down, I became the varsity coach the next year. So I coached the Waldwick girls varsity team for 9 years. I was lucky enough to win a section our first year.
Oh, wow.
Won a couple league championships, came close a couple other times, and then stepped down after 9 seasons, and then found my way to Mawa, and that's where I've been ever since.
And when did you join Mawa?
This will be my 5th season. So, what I guess that's 4
Right after
years,
COVID.
5 years ago.
Yeah.
Yeah, literally that year after that weird 2020 season was my
Right.
first year at Mawa.
So you are yet another one of the coaching tree of John Nescasi, huh?
Yeah, yes, I am. I'm lucky enough to say I played for Coach and was able to kind of coach alongside him a little bit for Waldwick. That was really special too.
How was it when, because I never had the feeling, got close, but how was it winning a sectional championship as a high school athlete?
I try to like instill it on my boys all the time. It's it's one of the most special feelings I've ever had, especially growing up in a small town in Mawa. You know, a lot of these guys have played together their entire lives too.
Right.
So you're playing with kids that you know and you grew up with, and you've gone through a lot together. You grow up together, right?
Yeah.
So, you know, in my senior year, our goal was we wanted to win the section. We came close the year before as juniors. We came up short. Our goal was to win it, and to get there and win it, it feels like everything you did up into that moment, especially when it's a group you played with for so long, everything you did was worth it.
I mean, it's a feeling that I wish more people could feel, but it takes time, you know?
Yes.
Well, so basically you are coaching the high school in the town you grew up.
Yeah. Well,
Correct.
yeah. So
So-
the girls, yes, but no, Mawa, no, I didn't grow up in Mawa.
So tell us a little bit about the tradition of boys soccer at Mawa and what you inherited.
Yeah. When I first, you know, when you're looking for jobs, when you're looking to step up, I looked at Mawa, and they've been a traditional, really strong Bergen County team. They're constantly in the county tournament. They're constantly competing for league championships. They made it to a couple sectional finals and semifinals over the last 10, 15 years. They haven't been able to get over the hump. So I knew I was entering not only a stable program, but a really competitive league. So I was looking forward to that. We inherited a tough situation. My first 2 years were rough. We won 2 games in 2 years.
Wow.
Yeah, which was a tough rebuild. But we've worked hard to kind of turn the corner now, and I think we're getting close to there.
Well, I think you're definitely close to it because you guys are off to an incredible start, 8-2 on the season, 6-game winning streak to open up the season, and you know your resume has some important wins there, especially beating Ramsey on the road. I remember when that result came out; that was big time result. I know that you guys lost a tough one, 2-1 on the return leg earlier this week. But where do you feel you and your boys are situated at the moment?
I think we're in a good position. I always think, and I'm sure you felt the same way as a coach, there's always another level you can get to.
Definitely.
So I think we started really well. I still think at 8-2, I think we're in a good spot. I think it's tough for high school boys to understand that, right? Like they all want to go undefeated. They all want to win all the time. You know, we had a rough one against Riverdale where I thought we played well. We had a rough one on Monday against Ramsey. We lost 2-1. I thought we played well. So it's getting them to understand that the results won't always go your way, and that while we're playing well, there's always a next level. And that was kind of the message coming into this week, especially with the county tournament coming up.
Right.
That it's coming to that point where we want to start to play our best soccer. So what happened the last month was great. It was a great start. We're really happy with where we are, but there are still more levels for us to go to. And ultimately we have to get to if we want to achieve whatever it is we're looking to achieve this year.
Definitely. And obviously, big topic of the week this week is the Bergen County Tournament. The much awaited bracket is finally out. You guys are, the number 10 seed, which is a good seed, hosting Rutherford this Saturday. What time is the game? Has that been determined?
Yeah, that'll be 10 a.m. on Saturday.
10 a.m. on Saturday. And do you guys, will that game be live streamed or no?
Yeah, we stream on NFHS.
Okay,
So you can go on there, search Mawa, and you should be able to stream the game.
So how do you, without giving away anything, how do you feel about this matchup, and what are you thinking about as preparation-wise for the Bergen County Tournament?
I think it's a tough matchup. I mean, Rutherford is a really solid program in the NJIC. John does a fantastic job with them.
Definitely.
He's as good of a coach as I think in this county. So I think from a preparation standpoint, it's going to be half preparing for what he has for us. They've had some success in this tournament. Last year, they made a great run where they upset a couple teams. So it's not overlooking them because of the seed. I think it's easy to look at a team and look at the number next to them and not the team themselves. They're going to throw a lot of different things at us that we need to prepare for. I think we match up in some ways pretty well with them. There are some things that I like in our favor, but we need to be prepared what they're going to do, and definitely can't overlook them, because of what they're the whatever 20-something seed that they are.
Sure. And what I also liked about the matchup is that this is going to be, anything could happen in any game. but you two are two of the best defenses in the entire county. You guys have only given up 10 goals. I think Rutherford is not too far behind on
No,
that.
they've played a lot of tight games this year when you look at the results.
Where do you as a coach, as a tactician, where do you think this game will be decided? Because this will be a tight matchup, more than likely.
I think it's definitely going to be decided in the midfield. They have a pretty good midfielder. Midfield. They have a really good midfielder in there. We're going to have to try to slow down. But probably in the midfield, because I think they're really solid in the back. I know the goalie's having a good season as well. I think we've done a good job in the back as well. So if we win the midfield and find a way to free space up for our attackers, I like what we have going forward. I like our 3 or 4 attackers versus anybody in the county. I think we have a way to we can create chances, and if we take them, we'll have a real good chance at winning this game.
Having both, I'm sure, played and now obviously coached in the Bergen County Tournament, tell us in your own words what makes the Bergen County so special, because we always hear about it, NJ.com, Varsity Aces. It's always touted as such a big-time tournament. What you played in it, you coached in it, what makes it so elite?
There's so many different styles and so many different teams, and it sounds crazy, but so many different schools. So, Rutherford's a school I've never coached against, on the boys' side. So, there's so many things that you have to prepare for. And, like you play in the league and you prep for the league, and it can get tedious prepping for the same teams 2 times over the course of the year. Having to go play Rutherford, I'm looking forward to that. It's a team in a different league. It's a team in a different conference. They're going to provide something different, and it's something that we can get excited about.
Yeah, I mean, I always think it's like the Champions League of North Jersey soccer. But so Mawa, obviously, Big North program. You guys seem to historically always be in the thick of things when it comes to the Bergen County Tournament. What are your goals? What are you looking to achieve in this Bergen County Tournament this year?
Since I've been coaching at Mawa, I think one of the things I really want us to do is make it to that quarterfinals. I think the quarterfinal day is so special. You have 4 games at one site. I love going to watch it. I'm hoping I'm going to be lucky enough to coach it this year, or coach in it this year. But I think if we can get there, and then once you get there, if you can win a game or 2, you find yourself in a semifinal. And if you find yourself in a semifinal, you're a game away from a finals. So I know we're a long way from it, but I think for our program, we came up short last year. We played a really good Emerson team that had a great comeback against us. It was a great game, and they did what they had to do on that day to get there. So I think for us, if we can find a way to get to the quarterfinals this year and give ourselves a chance to play whoever it is in that game, that would be a great step in the right direction for us as a program.
And I mean, I know these things are not talked about often, but I'm sure you're saying it. I know John is saying it, because I used to say the same things. It's bragging rights. It's Big North versus the NJIC.
Yeah.
What I love about the new format of the Bergen County Tournament is the play-in round sets up a lot of these Big North NJIC matchups, and I think it adds to the atmosphere. Do you feel that plays into it as well? That you want to represent the Big North against the NJIC?
Yeah, absolutely. I'm sure the NJIC says the same thing about us, and they want to come here. They want to come here and they want to beat us, and we want to go there and show to them that we are the Big North. We're the big time conference here in this county.
Now, besides the county tournament and the goal that you have there to get to at least the quarterfinals, which I agree with you, that setup is awesome, where everybody's playing on the same day at the same field. Looking also past that, where are you with respect to your 2025 expectations, and what are you looking to achieve even past the county tournament?
I mean, we're right there in the league. It's going to be difficult. We're going to need some help in the league, along with us achieving what we need to do. But everything's in play still. And, we really want to try and make a run in the sectional tournament. We had a decent run last year. We had a pretty good run 2 years before that. We feel we have a good squad this year, and my boys are really hungry. They're really motivated. They're working really hard. So we're hoping we can make a run in that.
And you guys are currently the 3 seed. I know these things can change all the time.
Long way to go.
Long way to go, but you're setting yourselves up for that path, that trajectory. before the season began, are you one of those coaches that looks to set goals for the team, or how do you like to play these kinds of head games?
I mean, I like to say we always have kind of 3 goals in each major thing, right? Like it might be compete in the league or win the league. It might be make the county tournament, win a game in the county tournament. It might be make it to this round in the state tournament. This year for us, it was really, we have a banner in our gym, and there hasn't been anything put on the banner in boys soccer for a long time.
Wow.
So we brought the boys in there and we said, we want to put something on this banner this year. Whatever it is, we'll work along the way. But there are 3 or 4 things that we can do, and that's what we're working towards every single day.
So what is the last banner in Mahwah boys soccer history?
I think it was a league championship in 2012.
Nice. I mean, so yeah, it's been quite some time.
It's been quite a while.
So, you know, part of this podcast, this idea that I had is to promote the high school soccer game. Having been a byproduct of it on both sides of the white lines, right? Player
Yeah.
and coach. What would you say is the importance of this game, especially in New Jersey?
Well, that's a good question. I don't know. I think growing up and playing this game, it's taught me so much, and so much of what I do today as an adult male is stuff that I learned as a player playing this sport. Whether it was being on time, whether it was being, attentive to what your coaches wanted, whether it was just pushing yourself,
Right.
something like that, trying to make yourself a better player. I think playing this sport in this county where there's so many different schools, so many different playing styles, so many different talented players and coaches, I think are lessons that I'm sure you taught your boys, and stuff that I'm trying to pass down on to my boys that go, hey, you're going to play this sport. You may never play it again, but you're going to take something from it. And most importantly, 5, 6, 7 years from now, you're going to have memories that you talk about with your friends. I had alumni that graduated a couple years ago. We went out to dinner this summer, and we had an hour and a half, 2-hour dinner just talking about that season and the memories we
Absolutely.
had. That's what it's about, and that's what this game does, especially in this county.
You know, you made me think of something else because I couldn't agree more. I still talk to my high school classmates. You know, having both played in North Jersey and now coaching in North Jersey, what would you say are some of the most obvious, tangible changes in the game, if any, from when you played it to now what you're seeing in modern day?
I say to my boys all the time, I think the technical level of these players today are off the chart. I mean, these kids can do stuff with the ball on their feet that I couldn't. Even kids that are, maybe rotation guys for me, their touch, their passing ability is outstanding. I think you can see the intelligence of the game as well as rising, which can make it difficult to coach boys too, right? Because they think they know everything all the time. But I just think you look at the game where it was, and this is always a fun thing to talk about when I talk to John about it from Waldwick. We'll compare teams from different eras and whatnot. And it's like you can't even compare what we were in 2007 to what his teams are today. The game has evolved
Right.
so much in that amount of time.
What do you think about the use of technology in the game as a coach these days?
I love it. I'm a big film guy. I'm a big
Me too.
we got a VO, so I'm a big film
Okay.
guy. We have Huddle, so that's great as well. I love sitting down and watching it with the boys. I learned at a very young age that film doesn't lie, right? So you might be playing a game and they might make a decision and you say, okay, you go back on film and you watch it and you go, well, that's not what you told me when you made that decision. It is what we talked about, and the film doesn't lie. I think it holds players accountable. And selfishly, I think from a scouting perspective, it's made my life, and I'm sure it made your life, a lot easier too, to be
Right,
able to go
right.
on Huddle Live or NFHS and
Oh,
be able to
definitely.
come and sit on the couch.
As like March Madness and the college football playoff, there seems to always be a little bit of controversy. So my first question to you is, I don't know if you realized, but because you are in the Bergen County Tournament, but there's been yet another change this year to the Bergen County tournaments. There's now a 4th tournament. So
I did not know that.
yeah, it's so basically how it works is, and hopefully it won't happen to you, but the losers of the play-in round this
Mhm.
weekend in the Bergen County Tournament drop into what last year was called the BIT-1. Now it's called the Gold Tournament.
Okay.
And then there is the losers of that play-in round go into the Silver Tournament,
Okay.
and then they've created a Bronze Tournament for the bottom, I guess, of the crowd. What do you feel that the format right now is the best way of doing it? Do you like the way it's currently set up for the Bergen County Tournament?
Yeah, I mean, I've run into no issues with it. I think the goal should be to try to get everybody 2 games over this week, right? And I think for the most part, I think the only teams that might not get those 2 games are the teams that get to bye in the first round of the actual
Right.
Kennedy tournament. And I guess the trade-off there is you get an extra weekend of not having to play, and you get to play on Wednesday. I think other than that, most everybody gets an opportunity to play 2 or more games. I think that's what we should be looking for in this kind of week
Right.
prep. So yeah, I mean, up until now, I haven't had an issue with it. And I've been on both sides. My 3rd year here, we lost our county game, and then we went down to the BIT. So we had an opportunity to play another game as well, and host another home game, which was good for us too.
Yeah, that aspect I think is great. And I think the added participation to the Bergen County Tournament by making it 24 teams is allowing for these better matchups. You know, there's no intensity like a playoff game, especially in Bergen County. So, you know, I'm excited to see what you guys do this weekend. It's going to be a great matchup. You know, do you have a young team right now, or are you a senior heavy laden?
I think we're a combination of both. I would tell you some of my impact guys are seniors who have been contributing the last 2 or 3 years. We have a really solid junior class that I'm really excited about. So it's junior, senior heavy. But you know, I have some really talented seniors that are going to be tough to replace.
Well, so this week, right, starting in less than 48 hours, it's survive in advance mode, right?
Yep.
The winner of your matchup would travel to Fort Lee and set up a matchup to who gets to go into the quarterfinals. Tommy, man, I wish you the best for you guys. I think it's going to be an incredible matchup, and like Coach Schultz said, the game will be live streamed at 10 a.m. Saturday on the NFHS network, and I'm looking forward to it, man. And I think you're doing something special there, and without even knowing that your first 2 years were that rough and where you are now, testament to who you are.
Thank you, Coach. I appreciate that.
That coaching tree is strong, man.
And he'll never admit it. He'll never want to talk about it either.
He'll never want to talk about it, but I'm sure that each of you guys take a little bit of what you learned from him and put it into your own philosophy.
100%. I mean, he's a special coach. I'm still lucky that I have the relationship with him that I have today, to be able to kind of lean on him for things. You can't ask for a better guy to lean on.
Well, let's hope there's a Mawa Waldwick matchup later in the Bergen County.
I don't know if either of us would like that. That would be a tough one.
Hey, it would make for great cinema, right?
Well, yes, it would.
Well, Coach, I'm sure you're in the thick of preparing for this big matchup, and I wish you nothing but the best. And I look forward to seeing what plays out and hopefully catching it live. I'd love that.
Yeah, I hope you can make it. If you come down, make sure you say hello. We're looking forward to Saturday. The boys are really excited, so we'll see what we can do.
Absolutely. Well, best of luck to you guys, Coach, and good luck rest of the way as well. Thanks for coming on.
Of course.
And you're doing amazing things.
Perfect. Thank you, Coach.
Take care. Good luck.
Bye.
That was a great night. I mean, Coach Tommy and Coach Joe were incredible on their discussions as well, and their insight in their programs. And the highlight, obviously, for me is Coach Doug Nevins. I myself, as a coach on a sabbatical, I learned a lot tonight that I will need to remember whenever God blesses me with a new position. What a humble man that has over 400 victories, with great insight on the game and the beauty of it, the necessity of the high school game, and how to build a culture. I mean, some of the examples that he stated, fantastic. But again, this is going to be a great weekend and a great week of playoff soccer in the state of New Jersey. Again, with respect to the Bergen County tournaments, I just think that there's no reason to constantly change things. The old adage of don't fix what ain't broke, right? I think the fact that Bergen County went to it's a massive county, right? Tons of schools. I think a lot of people liked the 3 tournament system, very much similar to what we soccer fans watch on television, right? Nowadays, you got the Champions League, you got the Europa League, and you got the Conference League. I think it's great. I think it's great for soccer. You see some great matchups. Sometimes you see some garbage matchups, but I think it's great. However, and I know a lot of people are going to be turned off by this, but Coach Nevins kind of touched upon a similar topic. Sorry for those that it'll offend. I am not for participation awards society. I'm just not. It's not the way I was raised. You got to earn the right to play for something. You've got to earn everything in life. You know, nothing that's worth anything in life is ever handed down to you. And I think in modern day and age, and I have 4 kids of my own that are years from becoming teenagers, but I'm sure I will face these same struggles. That's not what we need to teach around here. And I love the fact that we want to let everybody play something, but I think there's got to be some aspect of earning what the right to play for a championship. And we did it last year with the 3-team tournament. I think everybody was able to play, but I just think that the structure of it has to just be better. And I loved the Bergen County Tournament, the Bergen Cup, and the NJIC Tournament. I thought that was a great way of doing things. I thought last year was pretty much a great way of doing things, guaranteeing that everybody gets at least a game. Most teams even got 2 games. But, you know, the fact that there's the lack of transparency, everybody thought that there's going to be 3 tournaments. Now all of a sudden there's 4 different formats for each tournament. I think there's got to be more consistency. You know, the idea of having group play, round robin play to go into knockout. I mean, it would work better if there's more time, but we have a season that is utterly crunched, as we've been talking about in the early episodes. I just think that the county tournament needs to be, the county tournament works great. The Bergen County Tournament has a fantastic structure. I just think it needs to be thought a little bit better moving forward, the rest of it. Because, again, having played in those other tournaments, the ability to compete for a championship is worth it. It's an experience, a builder, it's a teacher. But I don't think all 50 teams should be eligible to do so. And that has meant in years for my program that I coached, it meant at times that I didn't make it. And you know what? That's life. That's life. And the 3 tournament system worked so well. I mean, we're the only county that does that. There's a lot of counties that most counties don't have a tournament that you can drop down into. So I think it just needs to be better communicated, better structured. The games are still going to be great. I mean, there are some matchups also in what was the BIT1 last year, which is the goal this year. I mean, you got Bergen Charter Creskill that we just talked about. I think Garfield Park Ridge is going to be a great matchup. I think Midland Park Westwood is going to be a great matchup. So there's going to be a lot of great matchups, and there's going to be even better matchups when the 8 teams that lose in the Bergen County Tournament play-in round drop down into this round. So it's still going to be great. I just feel that that's my personal opinion. I don't believe, unless you're in a county like Hudson, where there's not even 16 teams, I think. Everybody gets in. Okay, that's fine. And then you get the true Hudson County Tournament champion, Hudson County champion. I love when high school sports can feel professional. So I think having 4 tournaments is a little bit too much. I think, again, 3 was great. It's not going to take away from the great soccer that we're going to see. And in fact, there was several matchups that happened today, as we already mentioned. And in the other tournaments, there was also some games as well. So, those are just my 2 cents. I think competing at a high level and earning the right to compete at a high level stands for something. I think communication and transparency also stands for something. And I'm just excited now that these brackets are out, waiting for some more brackets. Can't wait to see these results, upsets, bracket busters, all that jazz. And I hope next year Bergen County can maybe do a live selection show like March Madness and have all the coaches on the podcast waiting for the live brackets to come out. I think that would be a really, really cool way of doing it. I'm hoping everybody's enjoying this podcast. I hope to keep bringing on more guests. I think tonight was great. We had a program beyond the show tonight. We had an NJIC team, a Big North team, and I'm definitely going to keep tally of the Big North versus NJIC matchups, as that's always a nice little inside battle that we have between the 2 conferences in Bergen County. And we already have Bogota beat Dumont tonight. We also have Ridgefield Park beat Saddle River Day, and Old Tappan beat Lyndhurst. So the NJIC is down 2-1 right now against the Big North. So can't wait to see where we are by next week. The brackets in almost every county will have moved into the late rounds, and hopefully bring on some great guests next week that are fighting for their county championships. So I hope you enjoy the episode. Please follow, share, reach out to me. I love doing this, and can't wait to keep doing more and more. So have a great night. Good luck to every team competing this weekend and through the week until I come back on for the next episode. So best of luck to everybody competing out there, and I hope it's a week of incredible, passionate, atmospheric soccer in North Jersey and in the entire state of New Jersey. Good night to all. 81st minute, Alberico Di Piero. Take care, everybody.